Hi, I'm Matt Mancini.
I'm Bryan Lendzion.
And I'm Nate Jefferson.
And welcome to the 10th episode of the Spartan Journal Podcast. And this is our last episode of the summer season or season 2. Today we'll be giving you a few more market updates. The stock market futures are currently down, with the S&P 500 at $4,415 or down 0.33%. The Dow futures are at $35,005 or down 0.25%. And the NASDAQ futures are at $15,022 and are down about 0.5%.
In crypto news, Bitcoin is around the highest price we've ever seen in the last 2 months of $43,000, while ETH is sitting at a modest 3K, despite the new London fork that just was initiated this week. It'll be interesting to see where both of these cryptocurrencies go within the next few months and few years.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported a drop in the unemployment rate down to 5.4%, with an increase in non-farm payrolls of 943,000. These numbers beat Dow Jones's estimates of 5.7% and 845,000 respectively. Average hourly earnings also increased more than expected, rising about 0.4% in a month and increased about 4% from the same time last year.
The governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, has been called on to be removed from office by President Biden and many other political leaders for sexually harassing 11 women. One of the 11 women, an assistant to the New York governor who was sexually harassed, said the governor committed a crime and the governor should be charged with the crime. The woman stated that she would get so nervous around the governor that she would get hives on her neck. After meetings with the governor, she would text friends about the governor's actions. She sent text messages to friends saying she was extremely uncomfortable and that Cuomo was groping her. Andrew Cuomo has denied this in a pre-taped video, saying, "I never touched anyone inappropriately or made inappropriate sexual advances." Andrew Cuomo has stated that he refuses to resign. The only way that Andrew Cuomo can get removed from office is if he resigns or the state legislature in Albany does it through an impeachment process.
Last Monday, industrial conglomerate General Electric began trading above $100 for the first time ever due to a reverse stock split. Their 1-to-8 stock split, which was approved by shareholders at their annual company meeting back in May, lowers the number of shares outstanding from 8.8 billion to 1.1 billion. The split multiplied the price of the stock by 8, but also reduced the number of shares each investor owned by dividing it by 8. They underwent the stock split because they wanted a stock price that would reflect a company of their magnitude. GE's market cap stands at 114 billion. No core fundamentals of the company has changed, and besides its earnings per share, which may be a little higher, none of the financial metrics will see much of a change either. That being said, prior to the stock split, the company's stock was trading at around $12 per share and is now all the way up to $104.5 per share, or a boost of 700%.
In other news, the new eviction moratorium has been on top of everyone's mind lately. Many Americans lost their jobs due to the recent pandemic. Despite many Americans going back to work, there still are Americans out of work and unable to pay their rent. Because of this, the CDC has enacted an eviction moratorium that prevents landlords from kicking out tenants until October 3rd. NPR explained why the CDC has made this decision by stating, while getting evicted is traumatic generally, eviction during a pandemic adds new layers of peril. Evicted families may double up with other households or move into crowded shelters. That can lead to the coronavirus spreading quickly, especially within vulnerable communities. Despite the eviction moratorium being in effect, it isn't expected to last due to many understanding that it could get litigated.
Wildfires across the world in areas such as California, Greece, and Turkey are increasingly becoming worse. The Dixie Fire in Northern California recently became the third largest fire in state history. In Greece, hundreds of people have been evacuated by sea. The Coast Guard had to borrow fishing and tourist boats to do this. These states and countries are experiencing historic droughts and heat waves. Many scientists have said this is exacerbated by climate change. Another important takeaway The water levels over 1,500 reservoirs in California are 50% lower than normal at this time of year.
The Biden administration announced on Friday that they would extend the moratorium on federal student loan repayments until January 31st, 2022. The Department of Education said that this would be the final extension and that a definitive end date will help mitigate the risk of delinquent payments or defaults once payments are due again. Loan repayments and interest accrual has been paused since March 13th, 2020, due to the novel coronavirus pandemic. The moratorium affects more than 42.8 million borrowers, or $1.4 trillion in federal student loan debt. The pause allows borrowers to save between $5 to $7 billion more per month to help go towards savings or pay off other forms of debt. Despite the actions taken, many are still critical about what more could be done. In a joint statement from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and Representative Ayanna Pressley, they said, while a temporary relief is welcome, it doesn't go far enough. The moratorium does not apply to private loans, and the Federal Reserve estimated in the second quarter of 2021 that there is more than $1.7 trillion in debt, with students of color and those who attended for-profit institutions to struggle the most with payments and have the highest rates of default.